The old warehouse smelled like rust and forgotten dreams. Rain dripped through holes in the roof, creating small puddles that reflected the flickering streetlights outside. Detective Ryan Cooper had been following this case for 3 long months, and tonight, everything would finally come to an end. Ryan wasn't just any detective. He used to work for the military, solving mysteries that regular people never heard about. After leaving the service, he became a private investigator, helping families find missing loved ones. But this case was different. This case was personal. People had been disappearing from the city. It's not just anyone, but specific people. Scientists, doctors, young adults with rare skills. The police said it was random, but Ryan knew better. There was a pattern, a purpose behind each disappearance. His investigation led him to discover something incredible and terrifying. There were people living in the shadows of the city who weren't quite human anymore. They had been changed, modified, given abilities that normal people could only dream of. Some could see in complete darkness. Others had incredible strength. A few could even heal from injuries that would leave regular people in the hospital for months. But with these amazing abilities came a price. Their appearance changed too. Some looked almost normal, while others were so different that they couldn't walk among regular people without causing fear. Most importantly, their minds had been altered. They no longer felt connected to the human world they once knew. Ryan had tracked one of these modified individuals to this warehouse. Her name was Luna, and she was both beautiful and dangerous in ways that made his heart race with fear. 3 weeks ago, he had gotten too close to uncovering their secret world. Since then, she had been hunting him, always staying one step behind, like a cat playing with a mouse. Luna wasn't like the others he had encountered. The modifications done to her body gave her features that reminded him of a snake. Her eyes could see heat signatures in the dark, and her skin could produce a powerful toxin that could paralyze or even end someone's life. But the most dangerous thing about her wasn't her abilities. It was her intelligence. She had been watching him, learning his patterns, studying his moves. She knew where he lived, where he worked, even where he bought his morning coffee. Tonight, she had finally decided to end their game of cat and mouse. Ryan pushed open the heavy warehouse door, its hinges groaning like an old man getting out of bed. He knew she was here. He could feel her presence in the air, like electricity before a storm. His hand moved instinctively to the small device clipped to his belt, a special communication tool that would be crucial for what was about to happen. The warehouse was huge, filled with old machinery and empty shipping containers. Shadows danced everywhere, making it impossible to tell what was real and what was just his imagination playing tricks on him. But Ryan had been in dangerous situations. Before, he knew how to stay calm when fear tried to take control. "I know you're here," he called out, his voice echoing through the empty space. "We need to talk." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, like smoke taking shape, Luna emerged from behind a stack of old crates. She moved with fluid grace, each step deliberate and calculated. Her modified eyes glowed softly in the darkness, and her long dark hair seemed to move on its own, as if it were alive. In her hand, she held a knife unlike any Ryan had ever seen. It wasn't just sharp. It was coated with a thin layer of venom that she could produce from glands in her fingertips. One small cut from that blade would leave him paralyzed within seconds, completely at her mercy. "You've been a very persistent," Detective Luna said, her voice carrying a slight hiss that made the hair on Ryan's arm stand up. But persistence without wisdom often leads to unfortunate endings. She circled him slowly, like a predator sizing up its prey. Ryan stayed perfectly still, knowing that any sudden movement could trigger her attack instincts. But inside, his mind was racing, going through the plan he had carefully prepared for this moment. "You've caused quite a stir in our community," Luna continued, stopping just close enough that he could see the intricate patterns on her modified skin. "Some of my friends wanted to deal with you weeks ago, but I convinced them to let me handle this personally." Ryan could see the intelligence in her glowing eyes, but also something else: pain, loneliness, despite her dangerous appearance and abilities. There was something deeply human about the way she carried herself. It reminded him of soldiers he had known who had seen too much combat, who had been changed by experiences that ordinary people couldn't understand. "You think you're helping people by exposing us?" she said, raising the venomous knife until its point was just inches from his throat. "But you don't understand what you're really doing. You're not just threatening me or my friends. You're threatening the only family we have left." The knife caught the light from outside, and Ryan could see tiny droplets of toxin glistening. On its edge, one wrong move, one miscalculation, and this would be where his story ended. But he had come too far to back down now. Luna's eyes narrowed, and a cold smile spread across her lips. She had been looking forward to this moment for weeks. In her mind, Ryan represented everything that threatened her new world: the curiosity of normal humans, their fear of things they didn't understand, their tendency to destroy what they couldn't control. "Any last words, human?" she hissed, her forked tongue flicking out briefly as she savored what she believed would be her final victory over the detective who had been causing so much trouble. But instead of fear or panic, Ryan's face broke in two, a confident smirk. It was the kind of expression that made Luna pause, uncertainty flickering across her features for just a moment. This wasn't the reaction she had expected. People facing death usually begged or cried or tried to run. They didn't smile. "Just one question," Ryan replied, his voice steady and calm despite the deadly blade at his throat. "Did you really think I came here alone?" The words hung in the air like a challenge, and Luna's confident expression began to crack. She had been so focused on finally cornering her prey that she hadn't considered the possibility that the hunter might have become the hunted. Luna's hand trembled for just a second. The knife that had been so steady moments before now wavered slightly as doubt crept into her mind. She had been hunting Ryan for weeks, studying his every move, learning his patterns. But in all that time, she had never seen him work with anyone else. He was always alone, always working by himself like a lone wolf. "You're lying," she whispered, but her voice lacked the confidence it had carried just moments before. Her glowing eyes darted around the warehouse, searching the shadows for any sign of hidden watchers. The silence that followed felt heavy, like the calm before a thunderstorm. Ryan kept his smirk, even though his heart was pounding like a drum in his chest. "Am I?" he asked simply, not moving a muscle. "I." He knew that any sudden movement could still trigger her attack, but he also knew that confusion was now his greatest weapon. Then, like magic, tiny red dots began appearing on the walls around them. Laser sights from sniper rifles, each one perfectly aimed and ready to strike. Luna's enhanced vision could see them clearly, even in the dim light of the warehouse. There were at least 6 of them, maybe more, all focused on different parts of the building. Her breath caught in her throat. She had been so focused on her prey that she had walked straight into a trap. This wasn't just any trap. These weren't regular police officers or military personnel. Luna could sense something different about the people hidden in the shadows around them. "How?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her entire body was tense, ready to fight or run, but she was surrounded. There was nowhere to go. Ryan slowly raised his right hand, a simple gesture that somehow commanded respect from the invisible watchers. The red dots remained, but they didn't move closer. It was clear that he was in control of the situation, and that realization hit Luna like a physical blow. "For 3 months, I've been investigating the disappearances," Ryan said, his voice calm and steady. "But I wasn't working alone. There are others like me, people who believe that understanding is better than fear. We've been watching your community, learning about your struggles, trying to find a way to help." Luna's eyes widened in disbelief. "Help," she repeated, as if the word was foreign to her. "You want to help us? After spending months hunting us down like animals?" "I wasn't hunting you," Ryan replied, taking a small step back to give her space. "I was hunting the truth. And the truth is that you and your friends aren't the real enemy here. You're victims, just like all the people who disappeared." The knife in Luna's hand began to lower slightly, though she didn't fully trust what she was hearing. In her world, humans were either prey or predators. The idea that one might actually want to help seemed impossible. You see, Luna, Ryan continued, we know about the experiments. We know about the people who took you and changed you. We know about the laboratory hidden beneath the city. And we know about the organization that created you and then abandoned you when their project became too dangerous. Luna's entire body went rigid. These were secrets that her community had fought to keep hidden. Secrets that could get them all destroyed if the wrong people learned about them. How do you know these things? She demanded, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and anger. Because we've been rescuing other people like you, Ryan said gently. People who were taken from their families, modified against their will, and then left to survive on their own. Some of them remembered pieces of their old lives. Others had documents, medical records, evidence of what was done to them. Weapon in Luna's hand finally lowered completely, though she didn't let go of it. Her mind was racing, trying to process information that challenged everything she thought she knew about her existence. That's impossible. We chose this. We volunteered for the enhancements. We wanted to become more than human. Ryan's expression softened, and for the first time since entering the warehouse, he looked genuinely sad. That's what they made you. Believe, Luna, but it's not true. The memories you have of choosing this life, of wanting these modifications, they're not real. They were implanted in your mind to make you compliant, to make you forget your real life. Luna staggered backward as if she had been physically struck. The knife slipped from her fingers and clattered to the concrete floor, the sound echoing through the empty warehouse like a gunshot. No, she whispered, shaking her head violently. No, that's not possible. I remember choosing this. I remember wanting to be stronger, to be better. I know this is hard to hear, Ryan said, his voice filled with compassion. But we have proof. Medical records, security footage from the laboratory, testimonies from other survivors. The organization that created you is called Genesis Protocol, and they've been conducting illegal experiments on kidnapped civilians for over 20 years. Luna's legs gave out, and she sank to her knees on the cold concrete floor. Her enhanced abilities, her modified appearance, her entire identity, if what Ryan was saying was true, then everything she thought she knew about herself was a lie. The people who did this to you, Ryan continued, slowly approaching her. They're still out there. They're still taking people, still conducting experiments, still destroying lives. But here's the thing. They're planning something bigger. Something that could hurt not just more innocent people, but all of you who survived their previous experiments. Luna looked up at him, her glowing eyes filled with confusion and pain. What are you talking about? They consider you and your friends to be failed experiments, Ryan explained. Prototypes that didn't work out the way they planned. And now they want to clean up their mistakes before starting fresh with new test subjects. The implications of his words hit Luna like a tidal wave. If what Ryan was saying was true, then she and her community weren't just hiding from normal humans who feared them. They were hiding from the very people who had created them, people who now wanted to destroy them. Why should I believe you? Luna asked, her voice cracking with emotion. Why should I trust a human who's been hunting us for months? Ryan knelt down beside her, his movements slow and non-threatening. Because I'm not just any human, Luna. I'm someone who's been looking for you for a very long time, longer than you might think. Something in his voice made Luna look at him more carefully. There was something familiar about his eyes, something that reminded her of dreams she sometimes had. Dreams of a life she couldn't quite remember, of faces that felt important, but remained frustratingly unclear. I don't understand, she whispered. Ryan reached slowly into his jacket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. He held it out to her, and Luna's enhanced vision could see it clearly, even in the dim light. It showed a young girl with bright eyes and a huge smile standing next to a teenage boy who looked remarkably similar to Ryan. Her name was Lily, Ryan said softly. Was 12 years old when she disappeared during a family camping trip. The police said she wandered off and got lost, but I never believed that. I've been looking for her ever since. Luna stared at the photograph, her mind reeling. The girl in the picture looked nothing like her current appearance, but something about those eyes, that smile, felt like looking in a mirror from another lifetime. That's impossible, she breathed. The genetic modifications changed more than just your abilities, Lily, Ryan said, his voice thick with emotion. They changed your entire appearance, your memories, even your personality. But you're still my little sister, and I've never stopped looking for you. 3 days had passed since that night in the warehouse, and Luna still couldn't wrap her mind around everything that had happened. She sat in a small, comfortable room inside what Ryan called a safe house, a hidden location where people like her could stay without fear of being discovered. The room had soft lighting, it had warm colors, and felt more like a home than any place she had lived in years. But despite the comfortable surroundings, Luna felt lost in a way she had never experienced before. Everything she thought she knew about herself, her past, her very identity, had been turned upside down. Ryan had been patient with her, never pushing too hard, never demanding that she accept the truth all at once. He brought her food, sat with her when she wanted company, and gave her space when she needed to think. But Luna could see the pain in his eyes every time he looked at her. The pain of a brother who had found his sister, but wasn't sure if she would ever truly remember him. Tell me about her, Luna said one evening, as they sat together in the small living area. Tell me about Lily. Ryan's face lit up at the question. It was the first time Luna had asked about her past, and he could see that she was finally ready. To hear the truth, she was the bravest kid I ever knew, he began, his voice soft with memory. When she was 8, she found an injured bird in our backyard. Our parents said it was probably going to die, but Lily wouldn't give up on it. She took care of that bird for weeks, feeding it by hand, keeping it warm. And you know what? It got better and flew away. Luna listened carefully, trying to find some spark of recognition in his words, but it was like hearing a story about a stranger, even though she knew he was talking about her. She was also stubborn, Ryan continued with a small smile. She made up her mind about something. Nothing could change it. She wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up, and she read every book about animals she could find. She even convinced our parents to let her volunteer at the local animal shelter when she was only 10. As Ryan spoke, Luna found herself touching a small scar on her left hand, a tiny mark she had always had but never questioned. How did I get this? She asked suddenly. Ryan's eyes widened. You remember that? When Luna shook her head, he continued. You were trying to help a stray cat that was caught in some old wire. The cat was scared and scratched you, but you didn't let go until you got it free. Mom was so upset about the cut, but Lily, you said it was worth it because the cat was safe. For a moment, Luna thought she felt something stir in her memory, like a whisper of recognition. But then it was gone, leaving her feeling even more confused than before. Over the next few days, Ryan introduced Luna to other members of his team. There was Dr. Hayes, a kind woman who had been studying the genetic modifications for years. There was Tech, a young man who was amazing with computers and had helped track down information about Genesis Protocol. And there was Wolf, a former, a soldier who had been modified just like Luna, but had managed to escape before his memories were completely altered. Wolf's story was particularly important, because he remembered pieces of his old life. He had been a construction worker with a wife and 2 children when he was taken. The modifications had given him incredible strength and endurance, but they had also changed his appearance so much that his own family didn't recognize him when he finally found them years later. The hardest part, Wolf told Luna during one of their conversations, isn't the way you look now. It's not knowing who you really are inside. But I want you to know something. The person you were before is still in there. The modifications changed your body and your memories, but they couldn't change your heart. Through Wolf and the other survivors, Luna learned more about Genesis Protocol and their twisted experiments. The organization had been run by a woman named Dr. Vance, a brilliant scientist who believed that humanity needed to evolve to survive in a dangerous world. She had convinced wealthy investors to fund her research, promising them that she could create super soldiers and enhanced workers. But Dr. Vance's methods were horrific. She kidnapped people from all walks of life, children, adults, anyone who fit her specific genetic requirements. She experimented on them without their consent, modifying their bodies and minds to create the perfect servants for her vision of the future. When some of the early subjects began to resist their programming or showed signs of remembering Past lives, Dr. Vance decided that the project was too risky. She shut down the main laboratory and released her subjects into the world, expecting them to die or disappear on their own. But the enhanced individuals were stronger than she had expected. They survived, formed communities, and learned to live in the shadows of normal society. Some, like Luna, had their memories so thoroughly altered that they believed they had chosen their modifications. Others, like Wolf, retained fragments of their original identities. "There's something else you need to know," Dr. Hayes said during one of their meetings. "We've discovered that Dr. Vance isn't finished with her experiments. She's been developing something new, something she calls the final solution." Luna felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of solution?" "The logical weapon," Dr. Hayes explained, her voice grim. "Something designed specifically to target the genetic modifications she created. If she succeeds in deploying it, every enhanced individual in the world would be eliminated within days." The news hit Luna like a physical blow. All of her friends, her chosen family, the community that had accepted her when she had nowhere else to go, they were all in danger. "How many people are we talking about?" she asked. "We estimate there are at least 200 enhanced individuals scattered across the country," Tex said, looking up from his computer. "Maybe more. Dr. Vance has been tracking them through various means: medical records, security footage, even social media. She knows where most of them are." Luna stood up suddenly, pacing across the room. "We have to warn them. We have to tell them what's coming." "We're trying," Ryan said gently. "But many of them don't trust humans, even humans who want to help. They see us as enemies, just like you did when we first met." "Then I have to talk to them," Luna said, her voice filled with determination. "I have to make them understand that we're all in this together." Ryan looked at his sister with pride and sadness mixed together. Even with her memories altered, even with her entire identity changed, she still had that same brave heart that had made her want to save every injured animal she found as a child. "It's going to be dangerous," he warned. "Dr. Vance has people everywhere. If she finds out that we're trying to organize the enhanced individuals, she'll accelerate her timeline. She might release the weapon before we can stop her. Then we better move fast," Luna said. And for the first time since learning the truth about her past, she felt a sense of purpose. "Because I'm not going to let her destroy the only family I have left." Wolf smiled at her words. "Now, you're starting to sound like the person you used to be," he said. "Lily would be proud." Luna looked at the photograph Ryan had shown her, studying the face of the girl she used to be. She still couldn't remember being that person, but she was beginning to understand that memories weren't the only thing that made someone who they were. Actions mattered too, and she was determined to take action to protect the people she cared about. "We need a plan," she said, turning to face the team. "And we need to move quickly, as if Dr. Vance thinks she can just erase us like we never existed. She's about to learn that some things are worth fighting for." 2 weeks had passed since Luna decided to join the fight against Dr. Vance and Genesis Protocol. What started as a small team of 5 people had grown into something much bigger. Enhanced individuals from across the city were slowly coming forward, drawn by Luna's message of hope and unity. But working together wasn't easy. Luna and Ryan had to learn how to be partners, not just brother and sister. Their first mission together had been a disaster. Luna's enhanced abilities made her naturally aggressive and impatient. "We need to move faster," Luna had argued during their first attempt to rescue a group of enhanced individuals who were being held in a secret facility. "Every second we waste planning is another second they're suffering. And rushing in without a plan is how we get everyone captured or worse," Ryan had replied, his voice tense with frustration. "These people aren't just criminals, Luna. They're scientists and soldiers who have been doing this for years. They know how to handle people like us." The argument had cost them precious time, and by the time they reached the facility, it was empty. The enhanced individuals they had hoped to rescue were gone, moved to another location that they couldn't track. Luna had blamed herself for the failure, even though Ryan insisted it wasn't her fault. "I should have listened to you," she had said that night, staring out the window of their temporary hideout. "Maybe if I had been more patient, we could have saved them. And maybe if I had trusted your instincts more, we would have gotten there. In time, Ryan had replied, "We're both learning how to do this. The important thing is that we learn together." Their second mission had gone much better. They had discovered that Dr. Vance was using a network of corrupt government officials and wealthy business owners to fund her research. One of these officials, a man named Commissioner Blake, had been helping Genesis Protocol by providing them with police protection and covering up their activities. Luna and Ryan had worked together to gather evidence of Blake's involvement. Luna used her enhanced abilities to sneak into his office and copy important files, while Ryan used his detective skills to connect the dots and build a case against him. When they finally confronted Blake, he had been so shocked by the evidence they presented that he agreed to help them in exchange for protection from Dr. Vance. "She's planning something big," Blake had told them during their meeting in an abandoned parking garage, "something she calls the final cleansing. She's been moving equipment and personnel to a new location, somewhere outside the city. I don't know exactly where, but I can get you the transportation records." The information Blake provided led them to discover that Dr. Vance had built a massive new laboratory in the mountains. Far from any populated areas, the facility was heavily guarded and equipped with the latest technology. But most importantly, it was where she was preparing to release her biological weapon. According to these documents, Tech said, pointing to his computer screen, "She's planning to test the weapon on a group of enhanced individuals first. If it works the way she expects, she'll release it in major cities across the country." Luna felt sick to her stomach. "How many people are we talking about?" "The test group is about 30 people, Dr. Hayes said, her voice grim. "But if she releases it nationwide, it could affect hundreds of enhanced individuals." "We can't let that happen," Luna said firmly. "Those people in the test group, they're probably people like us, people who were taken from their families and changed against their will." "I know," Ryan said, putting a hand on her shoulder. "But this facility isn't like the others we've dealt with. It's a fortress. You can't just walk in there and expect to walk out alive." Over the next few days, they worked to put together a plan. They reached out to every enhanced individual they could find, asking for help. Involved, but others were eager to fight back against the people who had destroyed their lives. One of the most important recruits was a woman named Storm, who had been one of Dr. Vance's earliest subjects. Unlike Luna, Storm remembered everything about her past life, including the day she was taken. The modifications had given her the ability to control electricity, but they had also left her with chronic pain that never went away. "I've been waiting for this chance for 15 years, Storm told Luna during one of their planning sessions. "Dr. Vance took everything from me, my family, my career, my normal life. I want to make sure she never does that to anyone else." Another important ally was a man called Ghost, who had been modified to be nearly invisible when he stood still. He had been living on the streets for years, too afraid to get close to anyone because of his appearance. But Luna's message of hope had given him something to believe in again. "I don't have much to offer," Ghost had said when he first approached their group, "but I know how to get into places without being seen. I know how much it hurts to be alone." As their team grew, Luna found herself becoming a natural leader. She had a way of talking to the enhanced individuals that made them feel understood and valued. She never judged them for their appearance or their abilities, and she always listened to their stories with genuine care. "You have a gift," Wolf told her one evening as they watched new recruits train together. "Not just the physical enhancements, but the way you connect with people. You make them feel like they're not alone anymore." "That's because I know what it's like," Luna replied. "I know what it's like to feel like you don't belong anywhere, to feel like you're more monster than human. But I also know that we're stronger together than we are apart." The closer they got to their mission, the more Luna began to remember things about her past. Not complete memories, but feelings and impressions that felt familiar. She remembered loving animals, wanting to help people, and feeling safe when Ryan was around. The memories were still fuzzy, but they were there, growing stronger each day. "Do you think I'll ever remember everything?" she asked Ryan one night as they sat together, going over their plans for the assault on Dr. Vance's facility. "No," Ryan said honestly. "But I do know that the person you are now is just as important as the person you used to be." Lily was brave and kind and always wanted to help others. And Luna is all of those things too. The night before their mission, Luna stood in front of a mirror, looking at her reflection. Her appearance was still strange and frightening to most people, but she was beginning to see beauty in her differences. Her enhanced abilities weren't just weapons. They were tools she could use to protect the people she cared about. "We're going to save them," she whispered to herself. All of them. The next morning, their team of 25 enhanced individuals and 10 regular humans prepared to assault Dr. Vance's mountain facility. They had weapons, they had a plan, and most importantly, they had each other. But as they approached the facility, Luna couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap. Dr. Vance was too smart and too experienced to be caught off guard. She had to know they were coming. "Stay close to me," Ryan said, as they got their first look at the massive concrete building nestled in the mountains. "No matter what happens in there, we stick together." Luna nodded, gripping her weapon tightly. She had spent weeks preparing for this moment, but now that it was here, she felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Today, they would either save the enhanced individuals being held prisoner, or they would all die trying. "Remember," she told her team as they prepared to move forward, "we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every person who was taken from their family, every person who was changed against their will, and every person who deserves a chance at a normal life." As they began their approach to the facility, Luna felt something she hadn't experienced in years: hope. For the first time since learning the truth about her past, she truly believed that they could win. The mountain facility looked like a fortress against the dawn sky. Dr. Vance had chosen her location, while surrounded by steep cliffs and accessible only through a narrow road that could be easily defended. But Luna and her team had spent weeks preparing for this moment, and they weren't going to let anything stop them now. "Ghost, you're up first," Luna whispered into her communication device. "We need to know how many guards are inside and where they're keeping the prisoners." Ghost's voice crackled back through the radio. "Already on it. Count 20 guards on the main level, 10 more in the basement. The prisoners are being held in a secured area on the lower level. But Luna, there's something else. I can see Dr. Vance in what looks like a control room. She's working on some kind of device." Luna felt her heart race. The biological weapon. They were running out of time. "Storm, can you take out the power grid?" Luna asked. "Give me 2 minutes," Storm replied. Lightning began to dance between her fingers as she prepared to overload the facility's electrical systems. Ryan grabbed Luna's arm gently. "Remember, we stick together in there. Dr. Vance is dangerous, but she's also smart. She'll try to separate us, turn us against each other." Luna nodded, but her mind was focused on the 30 enhanced individuals who were trapped inside, waiting to be used as test subjects for Dr. Vance's weapon. She couldn't let them down. The lights in the facility suddenly went out, plunging the entire building into darkness. That was their signal to move. "Go, go, go," Luna shouted, and their team rushed toward the building. The first part of their assault went smoothly. The guards were confused by the power outage, and Luna's team was able to overwhelm them before they could organize a proper defense. But as they moved deeper into the facility, the resistance became stronger. "They're ready for us," Wolf reported. As he took cover behind a concrete pillar, "Someone's coordinating their defense." That's when they heard Dr. Vance's voice over the facility's backup communication system. "Welcome, my dear test subjects. I was wondering when you would finally come to visit me." Luna felt a chill run down her spine. Dr. Vance's voice was calm, almost friendly, but there was something cold and calculating beneath the surface. "You've caused me quite a bit of trouble over the past few weeks," Dr. Vance continued. "But I suppose I should thank you. You've gathered so many of my escaped subjects in one place. It will make the final test much more efficient." She's stalling, Ryan realized. She's trying to keep us talking while she prepares the weapon. "Storm, Ghost, get to the control room," Luna ordered. "The rest of us will find the prisoners." But as they split up, Luna couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap. Dr. Vance was too confident, too relaxed for someone whose facility was under attack. The prisoner holding area was heavily guarded, but Luna's team fought their way through. When they finally reached the secured cells, what they found broke Luna's heart. 30 enhanced individuals, all of them weak and frightened, some of them barely conscious. "We're here to help," Luna said gently, to a young woman whose modifications had given her wings but left her unable to fly. "We're going to get you out of here." The woman just stared at her with empty eyes. "It's too late," she whispered. "She already gave us the first injection. We're all going to die." Luna felt her world spin. "What injection?" "The weapon," the woman replied weakly. "She's been testing it on us for days. We're the experiment to see how long it takes to work." Ryan appeared at Luna's side, his face pale. "We need to get them medical attention immediately. Dr. Hayes might be able to help if we can get them back to the safe house." But even as they worked to free the prisoners, Luna could hear fighting in other parts of the facility. Storm and Ghost were encountering heavy resistance as they tried to reach the control room. "Luna," Storm's voice came through the radio, filled with pain. "I'm hit. The control room is sealed and there are too many guards. I can't get through." "Hold on, I'm coming," Luna replied. But Ryan grabbed her arm. "No, if you leave, these people will die. We need to get them out of here now." Luna looked at the 30 dying enhanced individuals, then at the communication device in her hand. Her team was counting on her to make the right choice, but every option seemed to lead to someone getting hurt. That's when she heard Dr. Vance's voice again, this time closer. The woman herself had come to the prisoner area, flanked by a dozen armed guards. "Lily Chen," Dr. Vance said, using Luna's real name. "Or should I call you Luna? I have to admit I'm impressed. You've come much further than I expected when I designed your modifications." Dr. Vance was a tall, elegant woman in her 50s, with silver hair and cold blue eyes. She looked like someone who might run a successful business, not someone who conducted horrific experiments on kidnapped people. "You're too late," Dr. Vance continued. "The weapon is already deployed. In less than an hour, every enhanced individual in this facility will be dead, including you and your friends." "Why?" Luna asked, her voice filled with pain and anger. "Why did you do this to us? We're just ordinary people living ordinary lives." Dr. Vance's expression didn't change. "Because ordinary people are weak. They're limited by their biology, their emotions, their moral constraints. I created you to be better than that, but you disappointed me. Instead of embracing your superiority, you clung to your humanity." "Our humanity is what makes us strong," Luna replied. "It's what makes us care about each other, fight for each other, sacrifice for each other." "Sentiment," Dr. Vance said dismissively. "The very weakness I tried to eliminate." Ryan stepped forward, his weapon trained on Dr. Vance. "It's over. Your facility is surrounded, your guards are defeated, and your weapon is going to be destroyed." But Dr. Vance just smiled. "I'm afraid you're wrong about that. The weapon isn't a device that can be destroyed. It's a virus that I've already released into the air circulation system. Everyone in this facility is already infected." Luna felt her heart sink. If Dr. Vance was telling the truth, then they had all been exposed. But then she remembered something Wolf had told her weeks ago, that the person you were before was still inside you, that the modifications couldn't change your heart. "You made one mistake," Luna said, stepping toward Dr. Vance. "You assumed that because you changed our bodies, you could control our choices. But you can't. We choose to be human, even if we don't look like it anymore." "And what exactly do you think that choice will accomplish?" Dr. Vance asked. This, Luna replied, and she pressed a button on her communication device. Suddenly, the facility's backup power came back online, but instead of the normal lighting, every screen in the building began broadcasting a signal that tech had prepared. It was a message to enhanced individuals all over the world, telling them about Dr. Vance's plans and providing them with the antidote formula that Dr. Hayes had been working on. "See," Luna continued, "while you were focused on your weapon, we were focused on the cure. Dr. Hayes has been working with survivors like Wolf to develop an antidote. And now every enhanced individual in the world will know how to protect themselves." Dr. Vance's confident expression finally cracked. "That's impossible. The formula is too complex to reproduce without proper equipment." "Maybe," Ryan said, "but enhanced individuals are pretty good at helping each other. They'll figure it out," as if to prove his point. Storm's voice came through the radio. Luna, Ghost, and I found the antidote supplies in the medical bay. We're distributing them to everyone now. Over the next hour, Luna watched as her team worked to save not just the 30 prisoners, but everyone in the facility who had been exposed to the weapon. The antidote worked, but it was a close call for many of them. Dr. Vance was taken into custody, along with the remaining Genesis Protocol staff. But Luna knew that the real victory wasn't in stopping one person or destroying one facility. It was in proving that enhanced individuals could work together with regular humans to solve problems and protect each other. "So what happens now?" Ryan asked as they prepared to leave the mountain facility. Luna looked at the group of people. They had saved enhanced individuals and regular humans, all working together to help each other heal. "Now we go home," she said. "We start building something better." 6 months later, Luna stood in front of a new facility, but this one was different. It was a place where enhanced individuals could come for medical care, counseling, and help reconnecting with their families. It was also a place where regular humans could learn about the enhanced community and how to help. "Any regrets?" Orion asked, as they watched families reunite inside the building. Luna thought about the question. She still didn't remember everything about her life as Lily. But she had learned that memories weren't the only thing that made someone who they were. She had found her family again, made new friends, and discovered that being different didn't mean being alone. "No regrets," she said finally. "Just hope for the future." As they walked into the building together, Luna realized that the question Dr. Vance had asked her in that warehouse months ago, "Any last words? Human?" It's been based on a false assumption. Dr. Vance had thought that being enhanced meant giving up your humanity. But Luna had learned that being human wasn't about how you looked or what abilities you had.